The Edge of 17. The Edge of 17 is the story of Nadine, who's played by Hailee Steinfeld. Nadine is a troubled high school kid who is never really had friends growing up and has also been at odds with her mom, with the exception of having a really close relationship with her father and also her best friend, Krista, who's played by Haley Lou Richardson. However, the family is struck with a tragedy when Nadine's father passes away from a heart attack while her and her dad are out getting cheeseburgers one night, and it leaves her scarred for several years afterward. While Nadine's going through high school, her and her best friend Krista are having a sleepover at her house, and Nadine discovers that Krista has formed a relationship with Nadine's brother Darian. Nadine doesn't take kindly to this and ends up going on a downward spiral where nothing seems to be going right. Nadine has to work her way out of the spiral and confides in her teacher, Mr. Brunner, played by Woody Harrelson, for help. And we have her movie. Overall, I was pretty underwhelmed by this movie. I really had high hopes going into it given many folks' enjoyment and appreciation of it. For some, it was their movie of the year when this came out in 2015-2016. There's a lot of bright spots to be had between the performances of Hailee Steinfeld and Woody Harrelson, likable characters in Erwin and Nadine's brother Darian, comedic elements, and a somewhat relatable story about going through adolescence. However, the movie is drastically dragged down by the poor writing of our main protagonist, which is Nadine, and the surrounding problems that she's going through. Starting off with what I really enjoyed about this movie. Hailee Steinfeld and Woody Harrelson crush their performances. Hailee Steinfeld plays as Nadine, who is going through dark times in her life. And Steinfeld excels in taking these adolescent issues and elevating them to the point where you truly believe that is the end of the world for Nadine as we know it. You truly buy into the amount of angst and despair that Nadine is feeling, and it makes her emotion really effective. You can feel the degree of misery that Nadine is feeling, and Hailee Steinfeld really crushes and hammers home that aspect of her. Woody Harrelson, on the other side of the coin, plays as Mr. Brunner, who is someone that Nadine confides in often throughout the movie. And he elevates the movie by bringing a lot of different comedic elements and having dialogue between himself and Nadine that adds a sense of sarcasm but also a sense of care at the same time. It feels like Mr. Brunner is truly toying with Nadine's emotions, which comes across hilariously in a lot of moments. And to balance that out, he does a great job of balancing being endearing, being caring, and being funny at a distance, and feeling like the maintenance between the teacher and student relationship is there. Also, the side characters are written very well. Erwin, who plays Nadine's classmate, and Darian, who is Nadine's brother, are the most interesting characters in the movie for me. The script does a great job of getting you interested, empathizing, and ultimately rooting for them. With Erwin, he comes across as really genuine in the many moments that he has with Nadine. He truly cares for Nadine, and it makes you love him more and more as the movie progresses. With Darian, he's the character that is really trying to mold and mend the family together after their tragedy with their father. And you can see he gets stuck between this rock and a hard place where he wants to pursue his dreams and he wants to be happy, but he also needs to go ahead and keep his family together with his father no longer around. It's a really tough spot for a teenager to be in, and the movie communicates the weight that Darian is feeling really effectively. You get the sense that he's trying the absolute best that he can, but his mom and his sister are just making it damn difficult. It's crushing him, and since he's a good person, you root for him to succeed. And lastly, there's welcome comic relief throughout the movie. Many of these moments are between Nadine and Mr. Brunner, but a lot of these moments are also between Nadine and us as the audience. When Nadine and Mr. Brunner are having dialogue, Mr. Brunner will often say crass things that seem to come at the poorest moments, but that's what makes them hilarious. Because for Nadine, she's just at the lowest of the lows and she's looking for a sense of oasis. And Mr. Brunner, who's at a wiser point in his life, knows that it's not the end of the world, so he kind of toys with Nadine's emotions a little bit. He'll crack a joke because he knows it's not the end of the world, and for us, that's really effective to get us some laughs. And on the contrary, the moments between Nadine and the audience also provide a lot of different laughs. Nadine will often have a lot of conversations with herself since she's alone for some of the runtime, and when you're isolated like that and you're kind of having conversations with yourself, you're allowed to speak freely without fear of judgment. And that honesty we get to hear as the audience, and it's super extreme and super vulgar to the point where it's really jarring, and that just naturally makes you laugh. It just really catches you off guard and it makes it really funny. Now, what did I not like so much about this movie? I thought Nadine was a weakly written character. As the main protagonist of the film, she occupies a lot of the screen time and we spend a lot of time with her. However, the way she's written makes it very difficult to understand and empathize with her. In fact, I wouldn't even really consider her all that likable. And if we as the audience can't get on board with her issues that she's having, it can make the screen time where she's around feel really annoying, which is the impression that I was feeling. The problems she would face would largely be due to selfishness, or they'd be really unmeaningful, or just outright childish. And I didn't really find myself caring about the issues she was facing because most of them were created out of selfishness, which ended up hurting her family and friends in the process. And within that, I also think this film misses the opportunity to explore some really deep ideas. With the passing of Nadine's father coming at a really pivotal moment in her life, the movie spends very little time discussing it. Her grief is only really touched upon, and I think that was a really right place for the movie to combine that with her adolescence and really extract some good ideas. In fact, by the time the movie ended, I almost forgot it happened at all. By exploring that life event, it could have added more substance to the issues that Nadine was facing in her high school days, which might have helped us empathize with her a little bit more and what her character is going through. Because at the end of the day, coping with the death of a loved one is something, unfortunately, that every human has to go through. And if the film had explored that idea a little bit more, it would have added a sense of relatability and would have allowed us as the audience to form a deeper connection with Nadine. However, the film misses that, and it ultimately resigns that particular moment to a footnote in the movie. And it makes it really hard for us to form that connection with Nadine and ultimately root for her end goals. And the fact that I just could not get on board with Nadine just really hurt the experience for me from the movie as a whole. Friends, at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to give The Edge of 17 a 6 out of 10. I thought it was okay, but I was really disappointed and thought it was wasted potential. However, I am in the minority on that, so if you have thoughts on the movie, you know where the comment section is. Let me know. Thanks so much for watching another Bankrupt Hippo movie review. If you like this, click right here if you'd like to see more. I've been Bryce, and until next time, have a great day.